Hello everyone, welcome to the marriage Q&A as we celebrate 5 years of marriage. Yay. In a hotel room because we are quarantining, and it is currently 11 o'clock at night because this is our pretty much only time we have alone. But it's fine because we're now awake anyways.
Super awake.
I had to actually wake him up, not for this, but because I had something special planned anyways, and he was sleeping with the boys. But I didn't want him to think that I wasn't going to do anything for anniversary just because we're stuck here. So, where do you see yourself in another few years? I will go first. So, this summer when we were traveling a lot, visiting family and friends, Jace and Reese were able to communicate through words how confused they were. Because we had left Senegal, all that they have pretty much known, their home, their friends, just their routine of that kind of life, and our dorm girls, they were so sad that we had to leave them and that we weren't together anymore. And so it was fun for a while traveling, but I mean, even the time differences did add up, and they were only 3.5 and 2.5 at that time. And so it really did affect them, and they were able to communicate things like, is this our house, or is this where we're going to be living at now? Is this where I'll be going to school? And so they're so confused, and just even in their behavior, we noticed that there was a difference. There was a difference in acting out because of just like their ages and trying to communicate, but also transition is rough. And I think it's rough on me, but it's really, I mean, it does affect kids as well. So where do I see ourselves in another few years? I hope that we will be able to thrive here, and that we will actually be helping the school that we'll be working at as dorm parents. I hope that our time as dorm parents grows us, and we're still in the process of learning Indonesian, and so I would imagine that will take years to learn fluently. And I would like a place to, I guess, call home, and put roots down, I guess. And it's so important that my kids have that stability, and I understand that sometimes that's not always gonna happen, but that's where I'm hoping to see ourselves in the next few years, is a long term here in Papua. Who is messiest? I don't know if I want to answer.
Definitely you. And definitely not me.
Okay, you are messy in your own ways. I try to be clean, and it's very hard as a family of 5, especially with 3 littles. And I try and try, but sometimes it just is really hard. So now that we're going to a new place, I'm going to make that a habit. I am a clean person. I clean off the table every day, and I do our laundry. And you saying that you are not the messiest, I think we're even.
I could be a lot messier if I had more things, but I don't have as many things. So even when I'm messy, it's like in a small area, because all of my stuff fits in a trunk.
In those things that he's calling his things, and it's not a lot of things, he's not taking into consideration all the things that are considered family things, which are his too. Who said I love you first?
It was me.
I don't even remember when.
When did you think it? Day one?
No. I don't remember.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. Love you.
Which of each other's qualities do you love most?
I love the way that Tamara is just very willing to stretch outside of her comfort zone. She's very honest the way she admits to not being perfect, and therefore having things that she needs to work on, and that willingness that comes from that, a willingness to change, a willingness to grow, a willingness to be wrong or be better than you were yesterday, makes life so much more adventurous, because we're not just hoping for the best, and we're not just hoping that we get better at being us. We're actively looking for reasons and opportunities to get better. And that's a quality that I don't think a lot of people have. A lot of people think that you can take pride in just being who you are. And while that's true, you also shouldn't settle for who you are, I don't think. Because who you are isn't perfect. Who you are can grow. Who you are can be way better than you were yesterday. So why settle for who you were yesterday, even if yesterday wasn't bad?
Thank you. The thing I love most about you is
My body. She just likes me for my body.
Well, that too, but also I really appreciate how you handle conflict. I have learned how to have arguments because of you. How do you guys pray for each other, pray together?
Well, I pray for you in ways that I know you want me to, but I try mainly to pray for you in a preemptive way. Like, I pray against things that you've never even told me you are dealing with, just because there's so much more bad out there that God protects us from, and I want to, and Satan wants to get through to you and to me. And I hate the way that I think Christians pray, only pray when things get bad. And so I try to make sure that I'm praying against the bad things while things are good.
When I pray for you, I just think of it throughout the day, or like what you had mentioned to me about what you're anxious about or what you're struggling with that day, and I think to pray for protection over that and pray for peace. But as far as just like generally praying for you, I pray for you as a husband, as a discipler, as someone being discipled. I pray for you as a father, that you would just grow in all these ways, that God would continue shaping you to the man that He wants you to be. And I oftentimes already think that you've reached that, but I know that we're still human and we still fall short, and so it's good to continue praying, and I'm excited to see how God continues to grow you in these ways. And when you're feeling weak, sometimes I get lost in what I'm praying about that day, but I'm glad that I feel like we have good communication, and so I'm able to be reminded, oh yeah, I probably should pray for you in this way. But as far as praying together, we normally pray for like other people or our children together. And this is a good accountability question because I do want to be more involved in our prayer life together. And I kind of justify it, oh, well, it's hard because we have 3 kids and it's hard to find the quiet time to be able to do that. But it's important to make that time where we can also focus on praying for one another together and praying for our marriage together, because we're still humans and we still fall short, and I think it's important. So thank you, Caitlin, for asking that question. What event has caused the most growth in your marriage?
Probably Reese. Reese's eye.
I think for me, what grew our marriage was having kids, but on top of that, welcoming dorm kids into our family, because we are responsible for them, and just learning that we both have 2 different backgrounds and stories of how we were raised has caused us to have to really communicate with one another and even respect each other and how we parent. And I'm still working on this, but being a parent and co-parenting with you has really shown a side of me that is, I mean, I'm already selfish, but like really selfish. Like, I have ways that I want to do things, and I know that you are the husband, you are the leader of our household, but I think I just really want to be in charge as far as how we parent. And I think I have this whole idea of what we should be doing as parents, and I probably fall short because it's not an attainable goal because it's perfect. But I do want to strive to be better, and I need to work on being able to parent with you and accept that you do things differently. What are some of the conflicts from early in your marriage that don't matter anymore? I think in the beginning, and even now, our arguments are mostly over miscommunication or misinterpretation of what we were saying. But communication is important, so hopefully we're learning from our arguments that we just need to communicate better. And when we are on the wrong page, to be able to work it out in a way that is honoring to God, and also showing our kids that you can make mistakes and have arguments, but it's how you react and how you work it out that really matters.
Yeah. Something my dad says is, don't let Satan give you stones to throw at each other later. And it goes along with love holding no record of wrong. Real love shouldn't hold a record of wrong. We should be able to forgive each other for a conflict, move on with life, and then later on when we get into another conflict, inevitably, don't bring up the conflicts that we've already resolved to prove your points. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it can be tempting to do that, but that's like why did we even forgive each other before if we're just going to use those wrongdoings as stones to throw at each other later? Mm-hmm. And I think that's something we've definitely gotten better at.
How has living overseas impacted your marriage? I think because we were overseas and it was new to me. It wasn't new to Jeremy because he grew up there most of his life in Senegal. So as far as impacting our marriage, being in Senegal has helped me learn more of who he is in Senegal. Like his most of his identity was in Senegal. The things he enjoyed, how he just lived life, and how he was always out on the streets talking with just strangers. And so I really enjoyed seeing him thrive, seeing him home, seeing him for who he is was really nice. And now that we're in a new place that we both have never been to, we both don't speak the language, it's all new to us. So I'm interested and excited to see how that will impact our marriage, because we are now officially on level ground as far as we don't really know anything. So we get to do it together and work through the challenges together. How has living overseas impacted our marriage for you?
I think it's just made us a lot more flexible, a lot more able to adapt to different situations.
What do you appreciate about the African versions of each other, the American versions, and do you imagine appreciating about the Indonesian versions?
I like the way you've kind of adopted Senegal, and how you're just very, like, you started out uncomfortable with the idea of having kids outside of America, mainly outside of American hospitals, because the assumption is that America is better set up for giving the right care to giving birth to babies, and it's a system that you're comfortable with, and in my mind it's like, I mean, baby is gonna come anyway. Doctors really just help out in case something does go wrong, but like, I trust God, and I don't think that we're unprepared to have kids just because we're in a specific country, and that has all changed. Like, now you've done that. It was in Africa, and it was you, and it did work, and now that's the thing you're comfortable with, and it's more areas than just kids. It's like, this is our home. In many ways, it's our home more than America is. America is our home because of our families, but Senegal is our home because we built a home there, not physically, but relationally. We're comfortable there, and we definitely can see ourselves back there again someday, if not for work, then just for a visit. And so I really like that.
For the American version for you, I've come to appreciate that I know you want to be involved in the community and you want to be involved in reaching out to others, although it does scare you because you know that anywhere God can be using you, and your fear was that you would start to enjoy it or feel like this is where God is calling you in America. But you did realize that, and you called yourself out on that, and you were willing and ready to change that about yourself. You were willing and you wanted to be involved, and in some ways you were able to do that through neighbors and our church, and towards the end we did find people that we really enjoyed being around, and it was now bittersweet that we've come here after just getting to know them and wanting to get to know them more and become more involved in their community. And for the African version of you, I love your leadership. Well, you were a leader even in America, but just seeing how you lead in a way that's not like flashy, but you're humble, and you have a desire to, in your leadership, to just help others thrive there. And something that's been a huge thing on your heart is to help expats be able to experience the culture and the people of Senegal. And it was something that I didn't really get to see in America because that wasn't really your home. And so you just really wanted people to understand and have a love or appreciation of Senegal and what they have to offer. And oftentimes we were able to bring some people from the school that we worked at to our village that we had lived in for a little while, and just hearing their feedback, like, because Jeremy would plan everything out from transportation, making sure everyone had a place to stay, making sure everyone had meals and drinks and things like that. Was really fun to see him because in that role, because he loved doing that, and I think it brought a deeper sense of community for us. And I hope someday I get to see him in that role again once we get more comfortable here. And as far as Indonesian version goes, I'm excited to see how you learn, because I haven't had the chance yet because you were always home. Think on two things that she is really good at that you are not, and you are so thankful they take care of.
I'm thankful that you're good at dealing with the communication between churches and support raising and like the financial and missional aspects of going overseas, dealing with health insurance and stuff, all the stuff that I don't have to understand because you've taken the initiative and you've done it.
Two things that I'm glad that you are good at and I am not is, well, I hope I am getting better at this, and like I said, you are really good at conflict resolution, and I appreciate that when I come to you about something, we are able to work it out together. Or if I need to call someone out outside of our marriage, I'm able to run it over by you, so I'm not letting my feelings get in the way. And then even afterwards, when I feel like anxious about how it went. A second thing that you are good at and I am not is I really think you are good at talking with people and socializing. And though we love having people in our home, like, I love being the person who's like making sure everyone has what they need, and you're the one that entertains. You do the entertaining, and I would like to be better at that, like have people come to our village and be able to plan that out together. Last thing is, can you share something, actually there's two things. Can you share something God told you about the other that has come to fruition already? auxiliary, and maybe even something that has not yet.
Well, I think God definitely told me that you would be my wife. That happened. So that came into fruition. And then I think God is also telling me that we're going to have 4 kids. And that hasn't come into fruition yet.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that. For me, I believe that something that has already happened is how God used you to, I guess the word would be redeem, to my family situation growing up wasn't like the healthiest, and so it's caused a lot of, I guess, pain or just insecurities I might have about being a mom or being a wife. And so I always have prayed to God that He would give me a family that would be able to kind of redeem what was broken from my past. And so He has redeemed what I have thought would always be broken, that I would continue that cycle. Thanks for listening to our Q&A, and happy 5 years of marriage. It's been a sweet ride, and I'm looking forward to many, many more years.
Me too.